Hi friends, Miles here, and in this video I want to talk with you about the pros and cons of creating a hybrid music making setup. Quick explanation of the term: hybrid music making setup meaning combining a DAW with external synthesizers like, for example, the Moog Sub 25, Mother 32 or the Electron Digitone or anything else you can imagine. If you find content like that useful, a sub to the channel or a like of the video is always appreciated. And without further ado, let's get right into the pros and cons. Pro number one for me is flexibility. The hybrid setup offers a ton of different flexible options to route your audio through, to resample audio, to work on audio, to record audio, to basically apply effects to all of your stuff, and it just opens a big new world of creativity, at least for me, and therefore really helps me to work more on fully fleshed out songs. And that leads perfectly over to pro number two, which is way more flexible mixing options. In a DAW, you just have all the capabilities of really mixing all of your tracks that you have recorded or that you're working on, and even your hardware tracks with a, for example, 8-band equalizer, with a compressor, with a saturator. All of that stuff really helps to make your production sound more professional and to get better results out of the jams that you are creating. Pro number three for me is that it's easier to extend. On your hardware devices, if you're, for example, working in a DAWless setup, you may quickly come to the point that your audio inputs or your MIDI ins, outs and throughs are limited and you are not able to connect any additional gear to it, rather than just expanding your setup and growing it via a mixer or anything else. And this way your setup can grow really fast if you want to add additional instruments. But then when you combine it with the DAW and the right interface, actually you will have enough inputs to route everything. You will also have different options to have some sounds coming from software instruments, which is a big help if you want to keep your setup compact. Pro number four is more for people who play live, is that your setup is downscalable. This can be useful, for example, if you're playing a festival and the changeover time is really narrow, so you just don't have enough time to build up all of your gear, and also sometimes you just don't have the space, because when there are a lot of artists are playing and the size is the space is really limited, you will need a compact setup. And then sometimes it really helps that you can just record all the stems from your outboard gear and then don't have the need to take this gear with you to the gig. And pro number five for me actually is that you have a computer. Computers, and especially laptops, offer a big amount of options in a DAW in a comparably small form factor. So you just have the laptop, but if it's powerful enough and you're running a DAW like Ableton, you get a ton of software instruments, a ton of mixing plugins, a ton of stuff that you can just choose from and then make the gear that you have connected sound even better, work better together. It just offers you, in a way, more flexibility. But there are obviously also some cons to this. And the first con actually is the same like the last pro, which is you have a computer. Computers bear the risk that making music can actually feel like work, especially when you use a keyboard and a mouse and don't have any knobs to turn and any, just creative parts of your instruments to really touch. This can really slow down the creative process and really put some hurdles in your way. So I would really encourage everyone to find a workflow with a DAW where it doesn't feel like clicking and typing on a keyboard, where it's more like actually you don't need the computer. It's there in the background, it's working, but once you're in the creative zone, you just have your devices right in front of you and you actually make music with them. Downside number two is that the setup of a hybrid set takes patience and can get complicated. Believe me, when I tried to start to implement Ableton in my workflow, it was at first really a pain. I needed to do a lot of forum diving, a lot of reading on the internet, watching YouTube tutorials, and a lot of trial and error until I found a way of integrating everything. It's not smooth from the beginning, and it really takes some patience and time to get into it and understand how everything's working to set it up the way you need it to be. And I think as everyone has different expectations on how they want to work with a hybrid setup, what purpose it should serve, it really complicates things, because due to the vast amount of options you have out there in routing everything and setting everything up, it's always hard to first find your own option that works best for you and then getting this one to work. And the last downside number 3 I have, is also more for live acts. You always need to carry a computer and an audio interface with you to your gigs. In my case, for example, when I was playing DAWless, I used to play gigs just using the Digitakt and the Digitone. I hooked them up together, and once everything was working, I just went through the Digitakt's output into the mixer of the venue and done. Super small setup, very easy to set up and easy to go. With the hybrid setup, however, no matter what gear you're taking, you always will need a laptop and an audio interface to connect everything and to have all your gear running. Good news is actually that there are some options out there which define gear with an audio interface, like for example some of the Electron boxes have a built-in audio interface, the new Ableton Push 3 has a built-in audio interface, so all of that can help, but still it's something that you need to consider additionally. So wrapping this video up, it leaves us with the question, is it actually still worth it? And I can just answer that for myself and say definitely a big yes, it's worth it. Since I switched to a hybrid setup, my creative process got so much more structured. I have the feeling that the output I have is way higher quality. I have way more creative options, and it just opened up a big new world for me in creating music and getting creative with all the stuff that I have. And the good thing is I'm still at the point where I feel, okay, I didn't even touch the limits yet. So there's still so much more to explore and so much more to do. And it would be actually now quite more easy to integrate new workflows or to establish new workflows with this setup. So maybe it makes sense to answer the question for you and then ask yourself the question what the best setup is for you. Leave me a comment in the comment section below. I would love to hear what setup you are using. And till then, I see you in the next video. Have a great day. Stay creative. Bye.